Hope you're having a great weekend. This is our Week in Review. It's a look back at some of the most compelling and interesting stories that we've been covering for you of the past week. Brand new episodes back again Monday. Press subscribe so you don't miss any of it.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
We are talking with Alexandra Kazarian today. We are talking about the case against Bryan Kohberger in the Idaho Murders. And specifically, I want to talk about this request that has been put out. It's more than a request. It's a subpoena to bring in Bethany Funke, one of the surviving roommates from the King Road house. According to a private investigator, Funke may have information that could possibly clear Kohberger. At least that's what is trying to be spun out there right now. Obviously, someone who went through this horrible, horrible tragedy had all sorts of accusations flung at her. The trauma of it extremely deep. Is this overstepping to request that she come and testify and possibly give exculpatory evidence or testimony in the trial of Bryan Kohberger in the preliminary hearing phase set for June 26? Is it overstepping, Alexandra?
Oh, absolutely. So preliminary hearings can be held two ways. There is law that allows for police officers to testify to hearsay evidence for the purposes of the preliminary hearing only. Mm-hmm. So witnesses don't necessarily have to be called. The preliminary hearing is just it's a very low threshold for a judge to determine whether there's enough evidence for the case to proceed. Mm-hmm. So it's not a measure of guilt or innocence. It's just, is there enough there to send this forward? So a lot of times, if a case, depending on what a prosecutor really wants out of a case, they can put on the entire case with an officer saying, this person told me this, and because of that, we arrested this guy. And that literally can be enough to move the case forward towards a trial date. In a case like this, in a case where sometimes you'll have like minors that are witnesses, children, mm-hmm. Or cases where you have kind of flighty witnesses, people that you don't know will be available for the actual trial. Mm-hmm. Prosecutors tend to bring those people in for live testimony because that live testimony, as long as they're subject to cross-examination by the defendant's lawyers, that testimony can then be used in place of the live witness at the trial. Mm-hmm. So if you've got people that are available right now, but you think they might not be available for whatever reason at trial, the prosecution brings them in, puts them under oath, has them testify, and makes them available for cross-examination. So here, they have every right to subpoena the witness, and it's just a tactical decision whether they do or not. So it's not overreaching at all mm-hmm. to subpoena the witness and to bring him in. And especially if there's some indication that the witness is uncooperative or doesn't want to come forward, then you've got to subpoena them, and you've got to subpoena them for this hearing because they may definitely give you grief at the trial. And if you don't have this prior testimony, you lose them completely for the trial itself. So it's not overreaching at all. From
what I'm understanding here, because this is already a very confusing one to try and keep your mind wrapped around, is there's a private investigator that is saying that Miss Funke, that she has information that's unique to her experiences and cannot be provided by other witnesses. In some reporting that I've seen, it says that that she had at some place on some where testified or in a questioning said that she saw a naked man leaving through the patio door of the home on King Road. This is something I had never seen on any affidavit ever until this allegation was made without a whole lot of proof from this private investigator. Have you followed that area? That's what was standing out to me this morning, because I saw naked man and I thought, did something get mistranscribed here? Because this is all new to me. I know one of them said that they saw a masked man leaving the building, but a naked man seems new.
Naked man does seem new. I've seen the reports of the masked man, bushy eyebrows, mm-hmm. someone whose face was concealed a little bit. But I haven't heard about the naked man. So I do think that this is new. And it could be that it is in some of the affidavits that are sealed, and that may be one of the pieces of, it's common practice to keep some details close, sealed, so that if somebody comes out and says, oh, I've got information about the case, you can cross-check it with things that have already been released to the media. So it could definitely be a fact that they knew about but hadn't been released, or it could be a new fact. There is a lot of ways to look at that information or to analyze that information, but there also is some talk about that perhaps there have been allegations of a naked man at the scene of other murders in around the area. Maybe that this could be something that he does, if this is a real fact. And that's also the problem with letting out all of the evidence is now, is that going to red flag these other unsolved cases and then kind of distract the investigators into looking over there instead of really looking inwards into the case?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of blown away when I saw that this morning. I like naked man, and I've only seen it reported through a few outlets. I've never seen it yet on any sort of official affidavit, other than, I mean, the closest thing that we see on the affidavit that was from the criminal investigator, Richard Bethany, is stating exactly what I just said before, that portions of information that Ms. Funke has is exculpatory to the defendant, and Ms. Funke's information is unique to her experiences and cannot be provided by another witness. And then again, going on to say what some of the publications I've seen have then talked that there is talk of a naked man somewhere. But again, I can't confirm that, other than saying that I've seen it from a couple.
No, I haven't confirmed it as an actual fact that's being embraced by the prosecution or by the law enforcement at all.
If she really does not want to testify, she is in Nevada. She's in another state far away. The penalty, from what I saw, was up to 25 days in jail and a $500 fine. If she doesn't want to testify, can she be forcefully persuaded to testify? Other than the penalty? Other than the penalty, no. I mean, we can't. We don't do, Chinese torture to make people talk. Well, exactly. But if she said, "Screw it, I'll take." If she said, "Screw it, I'll take the 25 days in jail and here's $500," then she wouldn't have to testify. Is that what I'm understanding?
Incorrect, because at the end of that 25 days and $500, they put her on the stand and they ask her to testify again.
And if she doesn't do it, then it's back to jail until you. It's basically retain you until you testify. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
And actually, Mark Garagos, my law partner, had a case just like this, the Susan McDougal case. That's exactly what was happening, is that she over and over again refused to testify. And he represented her until they said, fine, uncle, we give. And she didn't have to. But that's exactly what happened.
This case is strange enough. I suppose anything is possible at this point. But naked man, a new thing to the line of mystery.
But one solution to that problem, which I don't know why they haven't already, or maybe they have explored it, maybe it's just too early to explore it, is offering her immunity. Because the number one reason people don't want to testify most of the time is because they're afraid that they're going to say something that's going to get them in trouble. Okay. Maybe she was doing a ton of drugs. Maybe she knew that he had killed a bunch of people and let him leave because she was scared, and she just doesn't want to say that. Okay. And so, one way for the prosecution to calm her nerves that way is to give her full use immunity. And, as long as you cooperate with us, we'll give you immunity. We won't prosecute you for anything that comes out on cross-examination, because obviously the defense attorney is going to go hard at her to try to find some way for her testimony to help out the defense. But, immunity is one issue. If she's just scared because she doesn't know if he acted alone, then that's maybe not something that the prosecution can offer her anything to help with. But immunity usually will solve the issue.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
Alexandra Kazarian with Garagos and Garagos. Thank you so much for your insight. Always appreciated. If you want to comment yourself on anything we're talking about here, we got a phone number for that. It's 888-5-KILLER, 888-554-5537 to weigh in on anything we're talking about. We'd love to hear from you. My name is Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.